I consider myself good teacher of Islam. Lesson on the immorality of Islam. Alright, so this is by Samuel Matt 0020. We have reacted to several of his comments already. So he have accused me of double standard. He has make the case as if Quran put Muhammad SAW at the same level as God or Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala or partner. We have addressed those, and now he is saying that there are moral problem, and then 1.1 Islamic mistreatment of women. Okay, so the keyword is mistreatment of women. Restrictive female dress code. Wait, what? How do you equate a dress code with mistreatment? Right? How is it mistreatment? I'm trying to understand the logic here. If God make a certain uniform for us, why is it mistreatment? The Qur'anic Hijab demands women to cover their face. How is that mistreatment? So that's interesting, because when you say mistreatment, there's a basis that is, for example, the right of everyone, and then you take away those rights, right? So maybe you can say that, oh, that's mistreatment. But fundamentally, how do you, unless you have already, okay, we have a standard which is the Western civilization standard, right? So that is standard. So because Christianity nowadays follow the Western standard, it is not mistreatment, while Muslim or Islam do not accept those standard that what the Western have said. Hence, it is mistreatment. Is that the case that is being trying to build up here? Muhammad curses women who artificially extend their hair. How is this mistreatment? Because this okay, the context of this curse is basically it's forbidden, it's wrong to do so, and there's a word using to describe that those people will be lost, will be punished, etc. For example, like that, right? So because this curse is not, I'm not sure when you read this, anyone who read this, you believe that it is like he is on the street cursing to people, right? So if you understand that, or if he understands as such, then please go back and read. That's simple. Please go back and read and educate yourself on the fact. But when you say curses, like in the Quran, for example, قُتِلَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا أَكْفَرَهُ, right? So that is a curse onto a specific people, right? So in that case, it's not like you're cursing on his face in terms of human interaction. It's saying that, you know, those people are doomed, for example, something like that, right? That's curse, a certain type of curse, right? So it's that case, right? So when you read Muhammad curses, I'm not sure where is this his own verse or he get from somewhere. But if he get from somewhere and other people is writing it, I hope you understand what this means. It's not like, you know, someone's cursing someone else. It is saying, like, for example, in this setting, you know, curse upon those who reject God. It's something like that, right? Okay, so why, I'm not sure, when you say mistreatment, are you focusing on this, or are you focusing on this part? Because if you focus on this, then you misread what it says. But if you're focusing on this, and you say that, how come they are in the wrong? Islam is setting that this is wrong, extending their hair, it's wrong. Okay, removing hair from their faces for beautification. Is this based on a specific hadith? Is it this one? Or is it what? Right? Because the way you depict something, I'm not sure, is it purposely, or you know, you do not take care of the verses, that you just say something that can cause misunderstanding. I'm not sure, right? So I need to see that, right? But yeah, there are certain acts onto what Allah have given us that is considered that you shouldn't alter that specific things, right? So, and those who do that is being said to be in the wrong. Why is that mistreatment? So that's the fundamental question, right? Because Allah that created us and give us role in this world, Allah can set the rules and regulation and boundaries, right? You shouldn't put any tattoo. Is that mistreatment on us? Why is God restricting? Because both men and women cannot have tattoo, right? Cannot put tattoo on their skin. Is that mistreatment of human being? Because when you say women cannot extend their hair, etc., right? And you claim that is a mistreatment to women, because women, men cannot also extend their hair, right? Can men extend their hair? Because you're saying this, unless you are focusing on this part, which is you don't understand the context. What curse mean? It's not mistreatment. Because if you're saying that it's mistreatment, then you will say it's mistreatment of non-believer when there's curses towards those kuffar that do, there's curses towards those who committing crime towards others. So it's not like you curse them, that it's curses onto them, right? So I'm not sure. So Umar has, okay, I want to know, okay, all of this, when you use certain word like this, right, it's normally it's how you process. So I would like to always see the actual text and see whether your idea of that text is valid or not, right? So where did he actually harass? Muhammad curses the woman who plucks their eyebrow. Okay, so I assume, because that's what I thought about their faces here, right? So if you do something towards your body for a certain purpose, which is normally beautification, right? So in Islam it's not permissible, and there are curses from that perspective, that you still going against the prohibition, right? Okay, I don't know what to say about this. So why is this immoral? Because, okay, one of the prohibition onto both male and woman, male and female, is to put tattoo on here. Is that, would you then consider that as a mistreatment towards human being when God prohibited something? So that's my question, to understand your logic. And then female subservience to men. Allah says righteous women are devoutly obedient to their husband. Husband is not, okay, wife and husband is a relationship, right? Are you part of the people that see if the relationship is in a certain way, one suddenly becomes subservient? If the wife cook for the husband, does it mean she is subservient? Or what? I'm trying to understand how you get subservient from obedience, when Allah has constructed in terms of society. There's a leader, and there's the people, and there's the obedient. Ati Allah, ati Rasul, wa ulil amri minkum, right? So ulil amri, the leadership has to be obeyed. So that doesn't mean that we are subservient to the leadership. It doesn't mean that. It's mean in the structure that Allah has established for the system to go well, the obedience have to be there, otherwise there will be chaos, right? So when we obey, so I'm not sure. So if, for example, in a country, right, we have constitution and we have law. So if we devoutly obey the law, does that mean that we are subservient to the lawmaker? Is that how you think? Because I'm trying to find the logic behind your conclusion here and whatever you say. Because indeed Allah mentioned that the wife should be obeying the husband, and the husband has huge responsibility that he have to carry as a husband, right? Allah affirmed that men are degrees of women. Okay, so when you say something like Allah affirms, Bring forth the verse and we can discuss. Otherwise, it's just your claim. A wife must always be available for sex. Okay. So some of this is, he said Allah is. Okay, which verse is about obedience? Is it in Surah An-Nisa? This one is from Hadith, right? So, okay, why is this subservient? Because you have an idea of a sex object, is it? If a husband have to wajib, right? Have to, obligated to find nafqah, to find food and shelter, etc. for the wife and kids. What you call that? Is it subservient because he have to slave himself to work just for the sake of fulfilling his responsibility to give food and shelter and clothing to the wife and kids? How? Or you just only, no, that is good, that's macho, only sex. I just want to find your, because when Islam, okay, to understand Islam you have to understand it's an ecosystem. It is an ecosystem. So in every relationship, leader and followers, husband and wife, father, mother and children, right? So we also have to obey, like here, right? Devoutly obedient to our parent, to our father and mother, right? Does that mean we are subservient to them? Is that how you logically think? Or somehow this is you just want to, because this is a hot topic, right? Children is subservient to father and mother. It's more difficult to sell, perhaps, I don't know. Or you actually think as well that, kids should not obey the parents because that means subservient to the parent. Is that how you think? I'm not sure, I'm not certain whether in Christianity, I assume if any resemblance of teaching of the Prophet of God from Jesus is still there should be a teaching about obeying your parents, right? If it's no longer in Christianity, then that's far off from what Jesus would have taught, right? So is that obedience subservient? I'm not sure, because maybe in your Christianity you say yeah, children is subservient to parent, and because the issue of degree, right? I don't remember the Bible, and I don't normally come to debate, but those who like to debate, I think there are verses, right? Because I've heard this verse from the Bible being quoted with regard, if you want to debate this, right? Here you cannot see that the Quran say about the level. It is saying about the relationship and responsibility, and you are the one that says that because of this responsibility, this must be, this one is below this one, right? But you cannot find any Quranic verse that is equivalent to the biblical verse that explicitly mentioned about God, man, woman, something like that, right? You cannot find it here. So is it like because you are so self-conscious of Christianity, have that concept, you want to force into Islam as well? Anyway, but in terms of this, right, the responsibility I was saying in terms of the ecosystem, right? The ecosystem work when every component works as intended, right? And one of the responsibility for wife towards the husband is in terms of, because one of the thing that a husband cannot find elsewhere, for example, me working outside as part of my responsibility, and I come back, my wife is too tired, she cannot cook, I can go out and buy food outside, no problem. I understand my wife is tired, she cannot cook, I can go outside. But if in a situation where I'm in need of sexual relationship, right, it's not like, oh, you're tired, I find someone else. No, you cannot, right? So that's, if you understand the ecosystem, you can understand why certain component emphasize certain things, because it enable the whole function, whole thing to work, right? To work. Right. So unless, okay, so when you see something like this, normally when a husband is in need of that, right, in sexual intercourse, for example, basically this is about sexual intercourse, right? When a husband is in need, just like, okay, I'm in need of food right now, I'm hungry. My wife, I'm too tired to cook. I can cook, no problem. I can buy outside, no problem. But there are things that, you know, no, I only have you as my only one wife at the moment, right? So for this to function, right? So that is the concept, right? I'm not sure, because some of this, when certain people they receive, they do not think as a normal husband, if you understand what I mean. They think that, this is for them, there is like a sexual maniac, right? So I can, you know, so maybe that's why they see this is as a problematic, because they themselves is a problematic human being. So if the religion say the wife have always to, so maybe that's why they see it as a problematic, perhaps, I don't know. But as a normal human being, as a normal husband, it's not like, you know, there are times where this become an issue, a real need at that moment, because it's not like, okay, you know, any man can understand certain need when it is actually a need at that moment, and when something can be delayed, right? So yeah, and unlike any other needs, any other different needs, for example, I can say that now I need food now, but there's option outside now as well, right? But for this one, that's why, you know. Muhammad deems it appropriate for a wife to proceed. Okay, this is an evil depiction if you purposely do this. If you see the hadith, the actual hadith, and then you come to make this sentence of yours, you are indeed evil, because you intentionally distort what the hadith say, right? But if you never seen the hadith and you get this from someone else saying something, and then just show a glimpse of that hadith and then make his own point, and then say, that is what it says, then you just ignorant of what exactly the hadith say. But if you actually saw what the hadith say, and then you make this sentence and you say that, Muhammad said it is appropriate for the wife to prostrate to the husband, I have nothing else to say to you, because if you're purposely doing this, you actually are not sincere and you are not honest, clear cut. But I assume you get all of this from somewhere, so you are just being fooled by someone else. Muhammad said a wife must fulfill her husband's desire for intimacy, even if, okay, this one is correlated to this one, right? So in an extreme case where a husband is in need there and then this become this come into picture, right? Women must rely on the men in their life to choose their husband for them. Is this about wali? Meaning that if the father know that that guy is not good for his daughter, the woman should trust the father. Is this the context, or what are you talking about? Because if that is the context, because the wali, the responsibility of the wali, the father, the older brother, etc., is really to protect the well-being of the daughter or the sister, right? So that is part of the ecosystem. So I'm not sure whether you flip this to say that because the father has to be responsible for the well-being of the daughter, to make sure that the soon-to-be husband to the daughter is good enough, that means the daughter is subservient. Is that what you mean? I can understand for those who come from a culture where the father don't care, marry whoever you want, some weird bad husband, feel free. If you come from that culture, maybe it's harder to understand certain things, specific things in Islam, because you do not understand the whole picture, right? Muhammad said a woman cannot keep voluntary fast without the husband permission. Yeah, this one is related to this one, or not this one, this one, right? Because you have to understand the whole thing, right? Because when you are fasting, you cannot have sexual intercourse, right? So that's one thing that you have to understand, how it relates. It's not like you cannot obey God, right? Because voluntary fasting is not the Ramadan one. Ramadan is obligatory fasting. Voluntary is like, okay, I want to fast tomorrow, because my wife always asks me, right? I'm planning to fast tomorrow. Is it okay, or do you actually have plan? Because if I actually have plan, no, tomorrow let's have a romantic moment, for example, right? So again, then my voluntary fast can be on the other day, right? So that's where this comes into the picture, right? It's not like evil, like no, don't obey God, don't make ibadah to God. It's not like that. I'm not sure, right, what is the subservient thing comes into the picture. So it's more of how to make the system function, right? So if they do not ask the husband, they already fast, and the husband already planned, but he maybe, because many men do not tell the plan, women tend to tell the plan, right? So that's why when women just simply ask, right, do you have plan tomorrow? I plan to fast. If you do not have plan, okay, fast. I do not have plan for tomorrow, maybe the next day we can, right? So something like that. Muhammad said woman cannot let anyone enter the home without her permission. Interesting. So with this, you say that woman is subservient. I guess the idea of marriage and responsibility of husband and wife in Christianity is very different, I guess, right? Because in Islam, the husband is the one most responsibility, and when you say responsible and responsibility, it's like God will ask the husband first, why is this happening? For that to function, right? If you say in an army, right, the general is responsibility for the squad, for example, or the platoon or the battalion, for example, right? And this is the leader is held all the responsibility on him. For that to function, the team has to obey the general, right? If this can do whatever they want, how can this general be held accountable for whatever is happening here? For the system to function, this have to follow this command, and this have to be responsible for whatever his command to the battalion, right? And then it can function. This is the one responsible. If anything, if his command is not, it shouldn't, it's it goes against certain convention, whatever, right? His command that make this battalion do something, he is responsible ultimately, right? For example, so for such a system, head of department responsible for the department. For that to function, the department should follow the leadership of the head of department, and then when something happen, he is responsible from top, right? But if no, you do not need to listen to the head of the department, right? So how can he be held accountable if the system is as such? Similarly, when God decided that a husband is the leader of the household, he is responsible for whatever wrong, etc., that happened here, because he should make it right. For that to function, the whole team should be following the leadership of this guy, right, the husband. So in the sense that here, it's if the husband says, if the wife, when they got married, they say that, so if my parent want to come here, is it okay? Okay, fine. So there's no problem there, right? But it said that I want to bring in my old boyfriend here, is it okay? No, cannot do. So cannot do, for example, right? So when the wife cannot let anyone come into the home without his permission, because he is responsible for whatever happened in the household, right? If he feel that, okay, no problem, your brother, your parents, etc., feel free anytime, then no problem. So normally when you see problem with these things, either you have such a liberal view that wife can do whatever they want, they let the husband, meaning there's no structure, or I'm not sure what is the structure in Christianity, right? Or you have an evil thing, as if when you have such a structure, you as a husband will become the demon that make life suffocating for the wife or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm trying to understand why you use all of this to conclude that female is subservient to men. Unless I understand subservient to mean something else. What is subservient? It's a down layer, right? Or is it just a teammate? Because normally when you use in a way like this to depict that it is not moral, it is something immoral, right? So I'm going with that. Unless if subservient is not a negative connotation, then why do we need to discuss in the first place, right? So what is this? Okay, silence is concerned. This is about akad nikah, right? Or you... Okay, this is interesting. Are you presenting things purposely in a certain way to depict as if it is so evil? Because in society now, when you say something like this, it is as if... I'm not sure if he intendedly saying something like this to make people think. For example, some people have been a victim of rape, for example, right? And the rapist, the criminal, using silence as consent. That has... okay, but that is a criminal case. That has nothing to do with this, and this has nothing to do with that, right? So I'm just, because I read this one without any context, right? Consent in what contract? So is it purposely being silent so that people might misunderstand this to equate to something evil as something that exists in the normal, and not normal, in some Western culture? Interesting, because the way you phrase it trigger that question, right? Because before you have already some sentence that it raises a question whether you are ignorant and you just copy paste from someone, or you intentionally and purposely shape your verse so that for ignorant people that read, they think of the worst, right? But this one, okay, feel free to bring the hadith that support this one, and we'll see the context, and from there I can explain the context when we have the hadith. Until then, I don't think I need to entertain this commenter further, because the sentence, this is not the first time that the sentence seems to indicate that there's evil intention behind it. So there are many others that we can discuss here, but when you have multiple account already of problematic statement like this, and it come across as potentially purposely done, so we'll see. So hopefully you see this video and bring forth all of the nas or the hadith for each of this, and we can discuss based on the hadith. So that's where I end this video, I guess. So with this, thank you for watching. See you next time.